Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some of the Florida State fans in the comment section last night talking about Florida State needing to get some commitments over the weekend, Saturday afternoon. Some massive news for Mike Norvell, this Florida State program, as they land the quarterback of the future and four-star quarterback Brady Smigiel from the state of California. Now, what's really interesting about Brady is you take a look at the recruiting services, a consensus top 5 quarterback in the country. You take a look at how Rivals sees Brady, the number 1 quarterback in the country, 5th national prospect in the 2026 class, a massive commitment for Mike Norvell. And you start looking at this quarterback room for Florida State over the next couple of years. Obviously, Brock Glenn going into year 2. You have Luke Cromano coming in as a freshman. Tramel Jones committed in the 2025 class. And now Brady Smigiel committed in the 2026 class. This is a loaded quarterback room for Florida State. And you take a look at over the next 3, 4, 5 years, quarterback play is going to be really damn good in Tallahassee. And you look at Brady and say, he might be my favorite quarterback out of all of them. And that's saying something because the Florida State fans know I'm a massive fan of Luke Cromano as well. Fired up to get into it. Before we do it, as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. And to the Florida State fans, it sounds like it is starting to ramp up for Florida State on the recruiting trail. A lot of commitments to break down over the next couple of days and weeks. Can't thank you guys enough for all the support. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Brady. And as a Michigan fan myself, this was a Michigan target in the 2026 class. I'm very familiar with this kid's game. And now I'll just start with this. You're getting a gamer in Brady Smigiel. You turn on the film and say, as a sophomore in high school, some of the caliber throws that he is making, I mean, they're just NFL caliber throws. This is a difference maker in terms of arm talent for Florida State. But I think most importantly, this kid between the ears just seems so mature. And you kind of listen to some of the chatter around his high school program, just kind of a born leader, which you absolutely love at the quarterback spot. And that shows up on the film. I mean, the pocket presence, the ability to get the ball quickly, out on time, accurately. You can kind of just tell he combines elite arm talent with kind of just being wired the right way between the ears, and it shows up on the box score. This is a kid that has started since his freshman year. Now, keep in mind, he's only going into his junior year of high school, has thrown for over 7,700 yards, 98 touchdowns during his freshman and sophomore year. I mean, production for a kid as young as Brady is extremely impressive. And then you get into the film, and we kind of already talked about the gamership that he has. This is a kid that, I mean, is not afraid to rip it into some really, really small windows. And he has the arm talent to make those caliber throws getting into the film. And again, some of the more fun film to watch at the quarterback spot. First rep, you're going to see one, knowing he's going to get hit in the pocket, stepping up, delivering just a beauty down the field in the face of pressure. That's kind of how you want your quarterbacks wired. You continue to work through the film. This is an incredible throw from Brady, where talk about high-level college football quarterbacks having to throw with anticipation, throwing it into tight windows. Take a look at when this ball is coming out for Brady. There is no throwing window, fits it in between 3 defenders, hits his wide receiver in stride for a chunk play. This is a guy that, again, can extend plays. He's 6'5", 200-plus pounds, keeping his eyes downfield, sets his feet, and just uncorks a moonshot that's dropped right in the bucket. This kid has no problem accessing the deeper third. And I mean, some of the throwing windows that he throws into, and this is some next level stuff, right? Throwing it right over that cornerback that's trailing right before the safety. I mean, these are really small throwing windows that Brady consistently fits in. You continue to work through the film. You love how he manages the pocket. Again, this is a sophomore in high school stepping up in the pocket, knowing he's going to take some heat, keeping his eyes downfield, and then delivering a beauty over the middle of the field, consistently hitting his wide receivers in stride. There's not many parts to Brady's game that you don't really like. And you take a look at how Mike Norvell can use this kid in his offense. Again, pocket presence is incredible, fitting it into the boundary. He seems like such a polished quarterback and a guy that, quite frankly, and another just an insane throwing window. I mean, you see where he has to fit this ball into. He is not afraid to let it rip into some small windows. I think my favorite aspect about him is he's played a ton of football and is going to be a guy that you can probably get onto the field relatively early for Florida State because he's going to be a 4-year starter at the high school level. Very hard to find quarterbacks with just that much experience. And you kind of start projecting his kind of final high school stats. You're probably saying he's going to throw for over 14,000 yards, probably over 200 touchdowns as he finishes up his high school career. A guy with all that's a nice catch by the wideout too, but an incredible throw on the run into a small window. Again, a ton of confidence to this cat. Kind of just the kind of quarterback that you want running your offense. And you take a look at what Mike Norvell is doing, and I get it's the 2026 class, but the number 2 class in the country in 2026, you add one of the top quarterbacks in the cycle. And I always say this, you want your quarterbacks committed early to you in these high school recruiting cycles because all of a sudden they become your kind of main recruiter, right? When you're trying to recruit wide receivers or running backs, they want to know who's going to be throwing them the football. And if you're a wide receiver looking at Florida State, you're saying, all right, you just put out 2 wideouts into the NFL and Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. Then I look at the quarterback room and say, Brock Glenn, Luke, Tramel Jones, now Brady. It looks like such a loaded quarterback room for Florida State. And you just can kind of feel it. Florida State gaining a lot of momentum on the recruiting trail. Absolutely love this pickup for Florida State. Going to be a busy next couple of days and weeks for Florida State on the trail. We'll continue to keep you guys updated. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.